580 AM ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਮੇਰਾ ਦੇਸ਼ ਹੈਲੋ ਅਲਬਰਟਾ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਜਲਦੀ ਸਿਵਿਕ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣੇ ਬਟਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਐਂਡ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੇਅਰਲ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਸ਼ੈਰਲ ਵਾਟਸਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੁਝ ਸਿਵਿਕ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਔਰ ਕੁਝ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਆਓ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਫॉर ਕਮਿੰਗ ਦਿਸ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here.
Good morning. Thank you so much. And I know we have many candidates for mayor race at this time. So how many are there at this time in total?
10.
10. There you go. And you're one of them.
I am.
Exciting. And there are few women this time.
There are. It's very exciting. We
Yes.
need better representation of, who lives in our city stepping
Yes.
forward to run for mayor.
Perfect.
Definitely. So what are the core issues for you if you successfully run this election? What you would like to see changed in Edmonton?
Well, let me start with the fact that what I bring forward actually represents the conversations that I've been having.
Yes.
So back in October, I declared my intent to run for mayor and basically just went out and started asking questions. What's important to you and your families? What are the important services? What do you rely on? And what you love about our city. And so a lot of people are coming forward and they're first talking about their concern for the future of the businesses that are being created in this city.
Yeah.
And I think many of us share those concerns because we really saw the impact of COVID-19 on those day-to-day businesses. And this is a personal thing for Edmontonians because many of us know someone that owns a business.
Right.
We work at one of these businesses. We rely on them for the things that we buy or the places that we celebrate events in our lives. And so that's really a number one concern. And so they're concerned about the permitting, the licensing, really the bureaucratic environment that these businesses struggle with day to day. And they're also concerned about the rate of tax that these businesses are paying. And so we hear about that a lot, that when you look at some of the neighboring municipalities, we have nearly double the tax costs. And so how do businesses that are already struggling day to day contend with that kind of financial impact?
That's a really good point that then you went out to people and heard them and their concerns. You were just thinking about it.
I can say that we experienced that on first hand basis. Our radio station is regulated by federal agencies, CRTC. Only time we dealt with the city when we were doing construction in this office.
Jay.
And we felt that red tape.
Yeah.
And really bad one. It delayed our project for months dealing with that hurdle. Okay, moving forward, we with the election coming up, we heard our listeners and they give us all the information. Poor planning for the city. If you take that turn where you probably came in from 50th Street, if there is a car, vehicles waiting to make a left turn, this is a bus route. Bus or truck cannot take a right turn from 50 to this road unless they go on the curb.
And it's a new construction area. It's a new road built.
Construction area. If you go, you will see that how many vehicles marked you will see on the curb taking that right turn. It's not going to change now. It's there forever. Houses are built already. Nobody can go back and fix that. Who is responsible for that poor planning for the city?
Well, thanks for bringing that up because that's another topic that I hear about. And I might pull it up a little bit and almost describe it as the inequity of how our neighborhoods are being designed and the amenities within them. And so I hear a lot about new neighborhoods and a lot of disappointment in the planning of new neighborhoods. And that doesn't really make sense. You can understand that perhaps neighborhoods that were built and developed decades ago are going to have challenges like that. But a lot of people don't understand how new neighborhoods are just lacking design, that they're lacking certain very basic.
And now we have a new garbage cans. They're going to be put on the streets and winter time. Where are they going to put it? I know the houses are so close and people park on the streets. There's no space left for that right in front of us.
I'm looking out the window here and I'm pointing at these houses, and so I understand that. I'm also hearing from building owners of multi-tenant spaces that are really struggling with trying to figure out how they implement this within these large buildings. And for those of us, like I lived in an apartment for many, many years, and you have that chute, right, where you put the garbage down it. So how now are they going to convince the tenants in their building that they need to separate and deal with the garbage? So there's, I think, a lack of empathy and understanding to what's actually happening in neighborhoods and within businesses right now. That's a core issue.
And sometimes people feel that Edmonton, City of Edmonton, the council or the mayor, they don't listen to them. They are left out. So what kind of change you will bring if you're elected?
Well, I'm not a politician. And so when I come to the table and I want to represent everyday Edmontonians, I was born and raised in this city. I grew up on the north side of this city in Beverly. I relied on a lot of the city services because we couldn't afford sports programs. And so I learned to skate in my neighborhood. So I bring that perspective, a really deep understanding of the importance of the services that the city of Edmonton brings. And then I've been a business leader. And so I also, when I worked at Intuit for 15 years, dealt with the city on development permits and how we're developing our space and constructing a building that we had to get into in a certain period of time. And so that's the perspective I'm going to bring.
Thank you.
And next question is, comparison with the Calgary's sister city. Yes, a little difference with the business revenue Calgary bringing in. But Edmonton, it seems like we are still in that very
so far
small,
behind.
very small town mentality. How we can get out of that mentality and see ourselves a bigger picture and see ourselves developing and bringing new ideas and new businesses into the city.
This is so true. And so I've had a global role. I led teams in other countries. As a matter of fact, India was a big responsibility area of mine. I've been to that country 15 times, have a lot of love for it. And so that external perspective of working in other countries, Australia, the UK, really brings this perspective back to Edmonton to say we are being left behind.
Yes.
And we are thinking very small. And so that is why I'm stepping forward. Now, you mentioned Calgary, and I think that that's an interesting point. When you have a global perspective and you look at Edmonton, we are a tiny speck in the competitive landscape. Why aren't we thinking about creating effective partnerships with Calgary where the two cities can represent together, that the two cities can work together? Because right now we're playing this competitive game within Alberta that's ridiculous.
It is.
We're competing with London and with New York and these other...
And then we're competing within.
That's right. And we're having this little competition here. So I think partnerships with Calgary would be really important. And they could also help us increase our pace because they're moving much quicker than we are. Much quicker. And so I think that recognition that we can't continue to move at this pace and that we have a global lens of how are we looking at our true competitors, that's what's necessary here.
And you brought out a very good point that Albertan city should work together. But look at our surrounding. Edmonton can't even get along with our surrounding communities. We can't even play a bigger brother or a role. If we talk about Edmonton region, we have so many problems. How we can address those?
We need a collaborative mayor. We need a mayor that really understands how to create mutually beneficial relationships. And that's necessary not only with the mayor. The mayor's only one vote on council. And so how do they build consensus and collaboration so that the council is moving things forward? Number one. Number two, we need to think about how we as a region are cooperating together. And when I say region, I actually mean the Calgary and Edmonton region. And we need to create really effective partnerships with our provincial and federal government. And we know that those parties are going to change. And so we need to really, especially because we're the capital city, we should be really good at figuring
Definitely.
out partnerships.
Definitely. But what I've been involved with the civic election for many years. I have seen 2, 3, or 4 mayors when changed in front of me. Always there is a practice that mayor will bring in 7 at least close allies in the council, and they bulldoze through every bill they want to. There's hardly any discussion. They know which group is supporting what and what's going to happen to that bill. So how we can change that? How we can have independent councillor representing their ward instead of representing or favoring mayor's thoughts on that council?
Well, I believe, first of all, that these roles they're public servants.
Yes.
And so they represent Edmontonians.
Right.
Not their own views or
Yes.
perspectives or bias. That's, number one. And then I have formed very good relationships with all of our current council members from working with them when I was working with the Edmonton Economic Development Corporation.
Yes.
And then I've made an effort to make time for all of the candidates that are stepping forward to run in this next election. And the conversations that I'm having are, how can we work together to bring what you're hearing from all of your constituents? But then how are we looking at city priorities, big priorities, so that
Yes.
we can get work done together?
Last question. We should have started from this question. We were too eager to ask you all those questions. Can you give us a little bit about yourself, background, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as I said, I was born and raised in Edmonton, and I love this city. And it is love that has me stepping forward. And that's why I'm doing this. I have a career background that was built on opportunity and delivering results. And so I worked in the technology and innovation space at IBM, and then later on for Intuit, makers of QuickBooks. And that time at Intuit really had me falling in love with small businesses.
Yes.
And so when I made the decision not to move to Silicon Valley and to remain living in Edmonton, I wanted to go to work for business in this city. And so I went to work for Edmonton Economic Development Corporation, really focused on creating an environment here for companies to start up, grow, scale, expand into new buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I formed a division within EEDC called Innovate Edmonton.
Very good.
Focused on creating the best environment. And that's now a standalone economic development entity here to represent this city and to create a strong, thriving, vibrant economy. During that time, I worked directly with city council and administration. And so while I'm not a politician,
Yes.
I bring a deep understanding of how municipal government works.
Very good.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And at the end, I know that there are many questions we can ask you. Edmontonians, they're looking for a mayor who can hear them, who can listen to them. What would you say about it?
Yes, exactly. And that is why I announced in October 2020, and I have spent my this is my full-time job, going out into the community,
Yes.
listening, so that then I can expand my perspectives, my point of view, my knowledge, and then I will lead.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Can you give us the information how if somebody would like to approach your campaign office and would like to donate or they want to volunteer with you, how they can get in touch with you?
Please go visit my website, CherylWatson.ca, and that's Cheryll with a CHERYLL, Watson.ca. And yes, that's where you'll learn more about my origin story,
Yeah.
where I'm from, what my values are, and policies that I have co-created with Edmontonians and have launched. So please go find out more.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you
this
so
morning.
much.
Thank you. It was
I
a
appreciate
pleasure.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All the best.
Yes, Sanji.